Okay, now I'd like to talk about the actual requirements for the Master of Science in Computer Science degree here at Western Illinois University. What you see on this slide is over here we have our deficiency courses. Now these are undergraduate courses that you may be required to take if you have not completed similar courses in your undergraduate studies. And these should have been on your acceptance letter if they are required for you. So let me go over them briefly. These would be in addition to the 11 courses. So for example, for somebody who has no background in computer science and really wants to do the master's, there's the 11 courses that would be required for the degree that we'll talk about, plus these 5 here as undergraduate deficiency courses, which I'll talk about now. CS 214 is Introduction to Programming in Java. That's the base freshman programming course. It's in an object-oriented language. Some of you may have had one in C. That's not equivalent. We do require some object orientation. CS 310 is Computer Organization. 250 and 351 are Data Structures 1 and Data Structures 2, respectively. We have 2 different semesters of data structures. Some of you may have had one data structures course, and for that I will give you credit for CS 250. If you did not have a data structures 2 or an advanced data structures or algorithm analysis or something like that, then you could be required to do 351. If you had one of those courses, 351 of course would have been waived. 355 is automata theory. This is the mathematical foundations of computer science, and it's something you should be familiar with. Many of you had an automata theory course. Sometimes people have it in conjunction with a compiler's course or something. As long as you had something with automata, I waived that one. And if you haven't, then you would be required to take that in addition to the 11 courses for the master's program. All right, so the middle area here is the area requirements. Sometimes we call these the core requirements. Up here at the top, we see CS 500, and in the box I say IPR. CS 500 is the course number. This is probably what you should use when you refer to the course to your professors, other than me. But many of your colleagues will use the abbreviations. So CS 500, the name of the course is Intensive Programming Review, and many of your colleagues will refer to it as IPR. So I put that in the box here to highlight what it is. There are some of you who may have had go over here, the programming, data structures 2, algorithms, whatever, but it was a long time ago. And you need a good solid review of programming before you go into the core areas of computer science. So CS 500 is it exactly as it is named. It's intensive review of programming. You'll get back up to speed and to programming and in the way we expect you to be able to do it to be successful in our core courses. If you take 214 or 250 or 351 here, then we will waive this course for you since you no longer need an intensive review of programming. You've had your review through another class. And what you'll end up doing is you'll end up replacing this box with a third elective over here. And I'll talk about the electives in a second. Now beyond that, in the core area here in the middle, we have 6 core areas. And you can see they're similarly laid out. There's 2 courses here for most of them, and then a second and a third. And so this is, for example, this is the operating systems box, and 410G is the course in operating systems, and so is CS 511. Those are both the first course in operating systems. The 410G would be a course that will have both graduate and undergraduate students in it. And the CS 511 will be just graduate students, and it may be taught slightly differently since we don't have the undergraduates there. We can do things a little bit differently when it's just graduate students. We have both of those on the books. we are not always able to offer both of them. So if you need an operating systems course, it might just be 410G as it is for this semester. In future semesters, there might be a 511. So keep in mind that those are both considered the first course in operating systems. And you'll note in between them I have XOR. And if you've had 310, you know what that means. That's exclusive OR. You take one or the other, not both. So if you take 410G, you may not take 511. Okay. The second line in each of these is the advanced course. So CS 512 would be Advanced Operating Systems, and your colleagues will refer to that as AOS. And 513 is Topics in Operating Systems, and your friends will refer to that as TOS. Both of these count as depth courses, as I will define in a second down here. It is not a 3-course sequence. You do not have to take 410, then 512, then 513. As long as you've taken 410 or 511, you can go right into 513 and do not need to take 512. So both of these will count as a depth course, and the prerequisite on both of them is the first course in operating systems in this case. All these boxes are set up the same way. So we have a box for operating systems, we have one for computer networks, we have one for artificial intelligence, we have one for computer graphics, we have one for database, and we have one for computer architecture. The only difference down here in the architecture is there's only a 560. There's not a 400 level G course for you in that particular category. It's just 560 that you can take there. Okay. So the requirements here for the area requirements is to complete one course in each of the area that provides breadth, and then a second course in 2 different areas to provide depth. Okay, so as I said up here, you can take 410 and then you can take 513. And 410 will count as your breadth course, 513 can count as a depth course. Now this is one important thing to remember. It has to be 2 different areas. So if you take 512 and 513, only one of those will count as a depth. The other can only be counted as an elective. I'll get to that in just a second. So you can take all 3, but one counts as a depth, one counts as an elective. You must have a second area depth course to meet this requirement. So if you took this one and you took that one, that's fine. You take 512 and you take 522, that's fine. But it's got to be 2 different boxes where you take a second course. So you have to have 2 of these boxes where you've got 2 courses from it. Now, if you count them up, I've got 6 boxes here. Then 2 depth courses is 8. CS 500 is 9. So you have 2 extra courses to make your 11 course requirement. So you have 2 electives. And these can be, as I said earlier, other courses from over here. So if you say, I really like artificial intelligence, just pick that one. I take 460G as my core. I take 548 as my depth, and 549 can count over here as an elective. That's no problem. Again, as long as you got a second area for a depth course, you can take the third course as an elective. We also have some special courses that aren't part of the area requirements that you can take. If you're interested in maybe furthering your studies as a PhD program, you may want to do the thesis option, in which case your 2 electives will be 600 and 601. That's research and thesis. And I've got listed out some other courses here that could also be used as an elective. 505 is computer security. 530 is design analysis of algorithms. 575 is an independent study. 585 is software engineering. 590 is a generic topics course in computer science. 595 is the internship. You are permitted to do an internship. For those of you that are international students, though, you must be here 1 year before you can do an internship. And you would do it as curricular practical training or CPT. 1 year, though, for you guys is okay. It means you got to be here a fall semester and a spring semester, and you can start an internship in the summer. So you can start it like in May or June. As it is not defined as a calendar year, it's defined as an academic year. So if you start in fall, you can actually do it at the beginning of next summer. 599 is the project, and I usually, highly encourage people to do a project or an internship so you have some type of larger experience that you can take on job interviews. But those are options that are available to you. That's another one I'm just thinking off the top of my head. We have a 540, which is computer simulation, which is offered this semester. So any of these courses that are that have CS as the uh, course abbreviation and a 500 level designator on them, you're fine with that. One thing I'll tell you about other G courses, we do have a couple of 400 level G courses that are not here. You have to be careful. One of the reasons we like these other 500 level first courses is the university has a rule that says you can only have 5 400 level G courses on your degree plan. In other words, used for graduation. And if you do all of them, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can't take any other 400 level course as an elective. So if you can, and they're offered, try to do one or more of these 500 level options in these 5 areas that have 400 level Gs as well. That'll open up some electives for you. Of course, that said, that's appealable. Can you appeal to take a 6th one? Yes, you can. But, again, if you take one of these, then you don't have to worry about doing the appeal. Okay. And that's what I've got for the degree requirements. Again, I'll say, with the 500, if you take these courses over here, that's waived. You just end up with another 3rd elective. And your 3rd elective is, again, anything that meets the elective requirements. So there you have it. So that's basically the degree requirements. If you have any questions or problems come up, hey, I'm your advisor, come talk to me, or, drop me an email. I'm usually available with my iPad most of the time. If you've got a major problem, I can usually get to it pretty quickly. So welcome to Western Illinois University, and, let me know if you have any questions or concerns.